Welcome everyone. So declaration of tonight's ordinary council meeting is made at 5:30 p.m. Welcome everyone. Happy New Year to everyone who didn't hear me before. Tonight is a little bit different to normal, is that we have, instead of having a forum last week where we get to ask question and answers, we just have one combined meeting tonight. So what I'm going to do is as we go through each item, I'm going to allow questions. So just so the members of the public are well aware of that. So, because normally we would have a forum, we'd have all the questions, and then we would have the decision-making night tonight. So the meeting was open at 5:30 p.m, so I didn't say welcome to staff as well as council and members of the public. So item number 2 is acknowledgement of country. Just so members of the public are aware, we decided to have a rotational basis. So I'm going to invite Councillor Williams to present the acknowledgement of country.
The Shire of Northern would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, the Balladong and Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. So item number 3 is attendance. We have 9 councillors as sitting around the table and they are all present, and we have 7 staff are sitting around the table and they are all present and listed on the agenda. Item 3.2 is apologies, is nil. 3.3 is approved leave of absence, that is nil. Item 3.4 is absent, that is nil. So for members of the public, we are now on to page 7. So we've got disclosure of interest. We can either advise us now or as the item comes up during the night, so councillors are well aware of that. I have received one at this moment. It is from Councillor Antonio, which is me, so it's for the meeting being held tonight. It is item 13.5.1, RFT 07 of 2023, Northern Bike Hub upgrades. The interest, the Councillor Antonio is impartial. Members of the club are known to Councillor Antonio, and which I know anyway, but I actually ran into one, Councillor Antonio ran into one today randomly in the street, and they mentioned this item, so I just had to declare the disclosure of interest as impartial. So at this stage, there's no others from other councillors. So as I said, they can be advised. So we now go to page 8. So item number 5 is announcements by the presiding member without discussion. So that is without discussion. And now we go to page 10. So item number 6 is public questions. So this is when members of the public are able to ask questions about any item they like. So I do know that there is questions. If I can just get you to stand up, we're practicing for next month, just to come up and stand at the table, probably over near Councillor Bigler, just over here. And Amy, I'm going to go to you first. No pressure. We won't mention that in a minute. Yeah, just over here, thanks.
Alright, good evening everybody. My name is Amy Jacob. I'm a homeowner in and I'm coming today on 3 points, but short brief. But in February of 2022, I started the Northern Swan Guardians Association, and with that club, we have linked up very closely to the Shire of Northern Ranger Services. So your senior ranger, Kelly Walsh, and I have developed a very good working relationship together, and she's attended a lot of our meetings throughout the previous 12 months. We've been addressing the issue that there are now only 8 white swans left in the entirety of Australia, And being that they are significant to Northern, it is the symbol that represents us as a town, and it sets us apart from anywhere else. And we're very, very concerned that the numbers are declining. In fact, they're on their way to extinction. And my first question is council looking to find whether means to protect your beautiful white swans, because once they're gone, they'll be gone. And the reason why I bring it up is because we had 2 in the previous 12 months that have been attacked by a dog. These dogs have been roaming, and it's unfortunate that they have been able to access the riverfront. And it's not just the swans that have been harmed by these dogs, but also the waterfowl species that live. They're endemic to the northern pool. So that would be my first question.
Yes, so just the answer I can give, the staff might add more. We do have it in our council plan, so it was brought up when we revisited about 2 years ago. It is in there to investigate ways to repopulate or do it better. It's just not immediate from memory. That's the only thing.
So unfortunately, we've only got 1 breeding female, and the rest are all male. And once that's it, there's none left. You can't interbreed brothers and sisters. They just don't do that. I think just like people, they don't.
Shouldn't do that. Yeah. So, but if there's anything further, we'll get back to you on that as well. Yeah.
Okay, my second question is to council, is that I've the Northern Ranger Service, and working very closely with Kelly Walsh, that she's also come up against quite a big issue with wandering loose dogs, and therefore I started the Who Let the Dogs Out in Northern. That was my project, which comes in alignment with the swans being attacked by the dogs, and the Swan Guardians have agreed that this would be a good way to monitor the numbers of roaming dogs on the streets. And it appears to be that on average, there's roughly maybe 2 to 3 wandering dogs or loose dogs on a daily basis. It is very concerning because, going back to the swans, it's that they are a risk to your native flora and fauna, and also to people in the public, where we've noticed that some of these are actually on the streets and chasing cars, or going onto people's properties, and causing nuisance for their pets and things. So my biggest concern about that is that the public, and I'm just coming and advocating for the public, and mediating between the public and the rangers, is that the access to after hours ranger services is difficult. The people who are trying to bring the ranger service after hours, whether it be after 5 p.m. and 8 a.m. in the morning, they can't access it. There's 3 points which the council have given the service, which is it has to be an emergency, or it has to be like an aggressive dog. But that really determines the statutory interpretation of what is an aggressive dog. And if it's just any old dog wandering around in Northern, how does the ranger service classify that as a point or a means to attending these jobs? I think the public feels that they're at a loss. There's a lot of grievance out there, and being active in social media and hearing the comments of a large number of the population, they are saying that your town, apart from, is also known for wandering dogs and lots of alcohol shops. And so that's not a very good way to identify Northern. And I'm just wondering, with that much hour service, would council be interested in improving the way that we can access, the public access these wandering dogs after hours, or would you have any consideration into improving the problem with the amount of dogs that are wandering around on our streets.
Yes, to answer that, we've had a discussion with the CEO, not all the councillors on the stage. So the council is looking at improving after our services, to answer the question. But as to any detail, can't let you know about that.
That's fine.
But the council is well aware and is looking at it.
That's great.
But if we've got further information, we'll let you know, but that's the generic answer at the moment.
Yeah, no, that's fine. And my third question for council would be, as a single mother, and I've had to bring my daughter Abigail in with me because I'm at a loss. Being a resident in Northam means that I am limited to the amount of employment that is available to me. I can only access maybe casual jobs, and I've been for job interviews this week. And I found it very difficult to actually give them a clear answer about my availability for a full-time position. Unfortunately, I probably represent the majority of single mothers in Northam, whereby we find ourselves in a position where we can't have access to after-school care. There are childcare centres in town, but these childcare centres don't support children over the age of 6. And so therefore, people like myself are limited because we are either forced to bring our children to work and spend the next few hours with them in the workplace, or just decline offers of employment. And so a lot of us single mums just say, no, we just won't work because it doesn't fit in with our ability to our children first and what's in the best interest of our children. So I would like to ask council, would there be any consideration into looking into some form of outside of school care, which could operate through a PCYC or through a primary school that allows for parents like myself the opportunity to gain access to those full-time hours of work and also relieve the pressures of doing things like having to turn up to meetings, without the burden of having to bring them everywhere.
Now that one I'll definitely have to take on notice. That's all right, Amy, so we'll get back to you. But I will just, and I'm not trying to throw Jan under the bus, I just want to check if we've got the applications for childcare, because
yes,
there might be applications for childcare at the moment, I'm not sure.
Yeah, got a childcare centre, actually, but I'm not sure that provides full hours care. I think that's for the daycare, normal daycare. I'm not sure about after hours school care, but historically there hasn't been too much involved. There was. So I did run it previously from the rec centre years ago, but with numbers and also staffing, etc. So I think it's something that have a look at and take on notice.
Thanks, Jan. Yeah, Amy, we'll just take that one on notice.
that's
all
what
right.
I think. I just wanted to point out that a lot of people do wait on a list to access after school care because down in Bakersfield, or if not down in Mundaring. So the people who live in the Shire are very limited and find it incredibly difficult to be able to have that work-life balance. And something like that would be greatly appreciated if considered.
Definitely. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. So is there any further questions from members of the public? No? So we go to item number 7, we're still on page 10. Response to previous public questions taken on notice, that is nil. Item number 8 is receiving of petitions, presentations and deputations. 8.1, petitions is nil. 8.2, presentations is nil. We're going to go to page 11 for deputations, which is basically a statement. I do know that we have Mr. Maris would like to make a statement.
Evening, councillors. Chris Maris, President of Northern Phoenix Club. Just wanted to come along and just provide a brief statement in support of the agenda item tonight on the Northern Bike Cup. The premise of this upgrade to facility went back to the storms about 3 years ago when the club, like other areas in the Shire, were impacted by the flooding. and the club was dramatically impacted in terms of the extensive damage to our facilities and the track. And so this sort of stemmed out of that and about trying to build some resilience into the facility and also widen the field to not just be a BMX facility, but a facility for all forms of cycling. And thus the project has evolved to not be only an upgrade to the BMX track, but also the introduction of a pump track and a mountain bike skills track, and thus why so the club is absolutely committed behind it. The club is a very strong club. We've been operating continuously for 28 years. We have a strong committee and a solid membership base. We fully hope and expect that membership base will grow as we bring on a better facility that will sort of meet the current needs of the riders. The club has already undertaken extensive work in preparation for this upgrade. So we've brought in about 500 tonnes of dirt already and other work, and the club is committed to do a range of the mountain bike skills track in particular. The club is largely fully funding and doing the work of that as part of this broader project. So we're committed, committing funds, committing man hours and resources. We have community support behind us in terms of that work, and so I really encourage you to try and support this. The request for additional funds in part has come by a duration it's taken us to get to this point, and there's various reasons for that, but you can imagine what a budget might have been 2.5 years ago versus to what it is now for a similar type project. So I really appreciate if you take that into consideration and you consider the item. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more deputations or statements that any member of the public would like to make? No? Okay, so we'll continue on with the agenda. We're still on page 11. So we've got item number 9 is applications for leave of absence. That is nil. Item number 10 is confirmation of minutes. 10.1 is confirmation of minutes from the ordinary council meeting held 20 December 2023. See if there's any questions or clarifications, councillors. Otherwise, I'll just look for a mover and a seconder. Councillor Ryan is moving, Councillor Mancelli is seconding, Councillor Ryan being. So anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by show of hands? That's 9-0, that's carried. Sorry, Jeff and Sally, you don't get to work together. So then we have item number 11 is item for meetings to those in the public gallery. So I'm going to do these in order of promises made. So we're going to go to page 125. So we're going to have 13.5.1 RFT 07 2023 Northern Bike upgrades. So we're going to go to that. Just a reminder that Councillor Antonio, that's me declaring partiality in this item. So we have the agenda item before us. So I was going to see councillors if there's any questions for this at this stage.
I've got one.
Yeah, Councillor Hughes.
And that's for the, what was done to rectify the old area? That's the area that was flooded when the old there was flooding shops there.
That probably deals with no right of answer answer it anyway.
Thank you. Yeah, so that what they determined after investigating the issues were is that it was upstream issues that were causing a lot of the backflow. So by rock pitching, vegetation clearing, and just general tidying up of the open drainage as allowed the water to flow. So we'll continue to monitor it through this wet season, and then we'll have a look at if there's any additional issues. But the culvert was an inappropriate treatment for what the actual problem was. But yeah, actually, thank you.
So any further questions? Yeah, Councillor Gurek.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Just in regards to the plan, which was attached to the upgrade of the track, I just wanted to confirm that this new amount, what we consider to allocate, will this cover all the work, including as it was mentioned, the contract and the mountain bike track. And if there is any contribution from the BMX track towards these works already, will that reduce the amount required from the Shire, or that's additional?
Thank you, Councillor. There will be some in-kind work that's done by the budget in preparation, vegetation removal, supply of materials, that sort of thing. The contractors, the primary contractor who's won the contract will be responsible for all civil work on the project. So their quotation for work is all inclusive.
Councillor Geary?
Just one more additional question in regards that when we're looking at the plan, the mountain bike track is kind of cutting through the heritage shed on the plan itself. So I'm just wondering if the heritage shed will be removed or how does that's gonna work?
At this stage, there's no plan for demolition of any.
So is plan then correct?
I don't have the plan in front of me, sorry, so.
It was the attachment.
Yeah. There's definitely no plan to remove the shed at this time. So it should be a requirement on the drawing that's been issued.
Thank you.
Further questions or clarifications on this item, councillors? Not, we've got a recommendation on page 128, which is the first one. Councillor Mencheli is going to move that. Councillor Geary is going to second. Is anyone going to speak against that? So all those in favour by show of hands. That's 9-0, that's carried. Then we go to page 129. Then we have a recommendation there. Accept the request for the Councillor Mencheli is moving. Councillor Geary, Councillor Geary is seconding. So anyone likely to speak against that? So all those in favour by a show of hands. That's 9-0, that's carried. So, gentlemen, I think, and Amy didn't get to say to members of the public, as your item's been dealt with, you're quite welcome to go without any reference to me, but you're more than welcome to stay and enjoy tea with us as well. So either or. So just wanted to make sure everyone knew that. And then the next one I did promise was to go to page 136. So 13.5.2, community recognition for high achievers. So we've got the background there, councillors. Just wanted to make sure that everyone has read this and see if there's any questions or clarifications before we go further. Yes, Councillor Bolton.
In the brief, it mentions business education and governments, but now a 137, it doesn't say education after purpose.
I'll get the C letter that's all.
Yes, we can include education.
Yes. Councillor Geary.
When we considering, will we be able to select only one option and will we decide that it's going to go to war, or we will select option one?
I'm going to see that as well.
Yes. So the intention is to, so you can have more than one option, and the idea would be that we would do some further investigation into those options. At the moment, it's just a brief overview of what it might look like. So the intention would be that we would do some further investigation into those options that council wanted us to consider.
Councillor Bolton.
On page 139, we're able to get some estimates on ongoing management.
CEO needs that.
Yes. councillor. Yes, certainly as part of the further exploration we can include operational costs in there as well, so you get a picture of the full cost.
And I'll just ask a question, right, because in the recommendation it's got to be confirmed. So start looking for direction from council about which options.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
So, Mr. President, is that subject open to discussion?
We can do it a couple of ways. You can have a discussion, we can move a motion and see how it goes with your preferred options.
Well, there's been a number of options given, and while I was on the City of Kalgoorlie Boulder, we went down the path of installing plaques in the footpath, and that becomes a permanent fixture in the city, open for everyone to view. Some of the other options that have been put up clearly require that there's some sort of app or go and have a look at a wall or a mural or whatever. So I think the plaques sit in the pavement is probably one of the best options, but I'm open to
Well, to get it going, I'd actually give you a mood there.
certainly move.
So, Shelley used, so that's option A. I just wanted to check with the staff. So did you need two options?
Through the chair, no, council is happy for us just to investigate one, that's fine. It's just that there are the options that have been presented, so we really just want some guidance on which options you'd like us to explore further.
Councillor, do you have a question?
Well, no, I would have an alternative suggestion if it's possible, or an additional suggestion to add to it, because I think an electronic version of the recognition would be also appropriate. So if we could investigate the electronic as well.
So what I'll do is I'll get ask Councillor Mencheli if you'd like to include that in the motion, because we've got two options here.
Thank you.
So option A and B. A is the parks, and B is electronic. I've used the wrong words. Councillor Mencheli is happy to move that.
Absolutely.
And Councillor Hughes, you're happy to second that?
Yes, I'm a little bit against that one, but yes.
Councillor Reynolds, question?
So the electronic one, but the digital tips.
Yeah. So what we'll do is I'll just make sure we've got the wording right. I mean, I'm sad a bit flippant about it, but we've got the option A is the finding that up on the screen. It's the Walk of Fame, I believe.
Yes.
It's a Walk of Fame, option 3, Walk of Fame. And the option B is the digital touchscreen kiosk.
Yes, just in addition, that would be also my preference to include for accessibility, because not everybody can walk. So for those people who might not be able to walk the streets, at least they would have access to some kind of
I think that's 10, councillor. So we have a motion, so we did have it seconded, so we have Councillor Mencheli moved, Councillor Hughes seconded, so we've got the motion as on 141, and it's got said 2BC, so it's moving all that motion, but recognition approach option 3, recognition approach option 2 is the motion. So that's that, it's a live motion now. I'll just see if there's any speakers against that. If not, then I'll put that motion. All those in favour by a show of hands. That's 9-0, that's carried. Andrew, so that's been decided. So you're quite welcome to go on stage. Or we can talk to you afterwards anyway. We've got further investigation.
Right.
So what we'll do now is we will go back to page 11. So we've got item number 12 is reports of committee meetings, that is nil. January wasn't anything there. So item number 13 is officer reports. 13.1 is CEO's office. 13.1.1 is code of conduct for councillors and committee members. And this was workshopped, and then we have all the background and a motion on page 14. Councillor Ryan moved, Councillor Gierac seconded. Anyone like me to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands? That's 9, that's carried. We now go to page 37. So we have item 13.2, engineering services. 13.2.1, RFQ 14 of 2023, Minson Ave, Ray Street EV car park. So I just wanted to check with councillors first to see if there was any questions or clarifications. Councillor Ryan?
So we initially had sort of a budget question, for proposed budget's now extra 100,000. So what's been the increase since the time we were sort of first canvassing the idea of having the EV and station there? So I think what 12 months, 500,000. Is it just inflation or is it something else? Thanks, Councillor. I'm not sure what went into scoping the original budget, whether it included all of the constraints around drainage. There was a lighting component that was not included in the original scope. Those components add up. That's why we spent a little bit of our budget just going through a proper bill of quantities to make sure that we know what we were in for. And just that process alone sort of refined what we needed, and the received comments sort of confirmed our gut feel on that as well.
I'll go Councillor Gierac first and Councillor Williams.
Yeah, and in regards to the drainage, yes, that part of the Winston Avenue often gets flooded, so that's the drainage what's going to be included to get the water away from that area. Electricity and water doesn't really go well.
There will be some improvements to the existing infrastructure as well as additional as well. So it's quite a tricky little area to navigate. Water has to come away from the river and back around into the existing network. As far as we know, the design that we've run will work. It has some running been done on it. We're hoping that the experts have designed it in order to do.
And my other question in regards to the funding redistribution, that callback in Yogana Avenue, which was again a problem area, is that definitely tested that that problem had been solved?
Yeah, so we've had, it was done a little bit before my time. So going back before the previous winter, and the area didn't fail. What they found was a lot of the upstream overlay flow path was completely filled with bamboo. So they went through and cleared all of that out through an easement that runs through one of the local businesses there. Pitched it. We've cleared all of the other culverts that are existing that run under the road there. For advice, essentially putting another culvert there would have just given some bigger holes for the same volume of water to come through. It was actually allowing the water to come through freely. That from a hydrologic point of view has been what was required there. So the treatment was inadequate for what was actually causing the issue.
Councillor Williams?
Is the cost of installing the EV chargers actually included in this, or will that actually be works that will need to be paid for separately?
So that's done by the funding partner. So Synergy provide and install the charging infrastructure. The Shire component is the upgrades to the actual car park and
No further questions, councillors?
Just to clarify further on that one point, So part of our agreement is we now get certain powers under the DZ of that section of the road that allow us to arrange some sort of on lease with Synergy so that they can undertake ongoing maintenance there of their infrastructure, so it remains there.
And I just did have one question. Because when I had public comment, I take it there was no public comment, so I didn't quite see that in the report. I couldn't see it.
Yes, no, that's right. There was absolutely nothing on there. Quite a rigid process that went through. It's all part of the
And what's our timeline now? Say, assuming this is approved, what's the timeline here?
So the contractor will be ready to go as of the end of February. We need to align the minister's approval for the full closure of that road. That's getting close. We've satisfied every box that we need to tick. Synergy have some sway in the minister's office. So they've just grabbed our case number and they'll be in touch and see if they can expedite the process. So all going well, we'll break ground in February.
And finish breaking ground?
The timeline that's proposed doesn't impact any events.
The first event is in April.
Yes. It's actually not a huge.
Thank you very much. So I wanted to make sure I've asked the questions, make sure there's no more questions, councillors. If not, there's a first recommendation there was about the change in budget. So there's a recommendation there. We are on page 40. Councillor Mangelli is moving. Councillor Hughes is seconding. So anyone likely to speak against? All those in favour by a show of hands. That's 9-0, that's carried. Then we have the recommendation about the acceptance of the motion. Councillor Gierak is moving. Councillor Wright is seconding. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands. That's 9-0, that's carried. We now go to page 46. So item 13.3 is development services. 13.3.1, proposed amendments, local planning policy number 3. We did have a workshop on this, so we had quite a few questions and answers, and we have a recommendation starting on page 48. Question? So, Councillor Williams, have you got to say that? Any questions?
On page 50, 2.1b, I'm trying to get some clarity around the actual wording, please. I'm not sure if there's a word missing or an extra word, and whether changing the wording would actually change the intention or not. That needs to be noted.
So I'm sorry, Councillor.
Page 50, it's 2.1b. It says all small homes and transportable dwellings shall be located at the front of the site are to address, the primary street and the traditional outboard address. If that's the wording, which doesn't quite make sense at the moment.
Just to add that. At the front of the site and to address, I think it's a word missing, with the and.
So that'll be added in.
Not sure if this was discussed in the workshop. Page 52, 6.1, legal agreement requiring the payment of bonds. Rural land is not mentioned underneath that all the other critical zonings are. I'm just wondering why rural isn't covered by the bond process as well.
Historically, it has been. That's been something we've not really had an issue with. It's been all the rural residential and rural small holdings we have the issue with, because they're more visible. The rural is generally more secluded, but yeah, that's just a historical thing. There's no reason that shouldn't be added, but yeah, just historically has been an issue for us.
Councillor Holden, you have a question?
Yes, regarding 2.1, seems quite restrictive. I also wanted to know if this was specific to the small blocks, or if this is or if this covers half acre, 5 acres.
I'll have to refer to Chad with that one.
So, yeah, clause 2.1 would apply to all homes and transportable to whether a rural livestock and a small colony block or a residential block. So I start in terms of,
Whether it come into play.
no, it goes by the zoning, so it's in the, so, and then generally sort of rules from the home, generally the 5 acre lots of the out.
Further questions on this, councillors? Yeah, councillor Cobden.
Page 51. Section about the major openings. I'm going to get clarification on.
Normal major openings are classified as either a door or a major window, so.
Further questions?
Not.
That doesn't include universal accessibility, no, it's all about just, ability to window or.
Further questions, clarifications, councillors? Councillor Polden.
Page 51, the section about the specific minimal dimensions for primary living space and bedrooms. This seems quite restrictive, especially when you're referring to tiny houses where you may not have, it may all be open or.
Yeah, it is prescriptive, and I guess that's where the planners are coming from. I mean, they can satisfy those minimum criteria, then they can be supported. And if they are looking at something that requires variation, staff have an opportunity to do that. They've got delegated authority for a certain percentage. So, but it is very fairly prescriptive, because that's, I guess, the intent of the policy is trying to make sure that they've got a minimum standard of dwelling with minimum facilities. So there is a little bit of scope if there's justification for varying that. But yeah, generally that's the reason for the policy, to try and have that minimum standard of development throughout the Shire. But it's becoming more and more popular.
I'll just check if there's any more questions or clarifications, councillors. Councillor Polden just wants to make sure we didn't have any more questions. So we have a motion on page 48. Councillor Dirac is going to move. Councillor Minicelli is going to second. Anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by a show of hands. 8. All those against? 1. So we now go to page 61. So 13.4 is corporate services, 13.4.1 is a council statement of accounts for December 2023. I haven't seen any questions come through on this one. Just wanted to make sure there was no last minute major things. Otherwise, they can still be emailed in and answered by Colin in due course.
I've got a couple.
Councillor
Yeah.
Hughes?
There was one, EFT 49443, to replace window louver in a pure chemical shed the first section, the cost was 2,376. Seems a lot of money for that. Luther. I didn't have to pay, but I did.
Can we just take that on notice, councillor?
Yeah.
We'll take that on notice, if that's all right.
And the Parliament were the prices for me, 15 litres, $150 for 15 litres. Well, I want to leave that home, I don't think they do that.
Yeah. And did you have another question, councillor Peters?
No, that was, that's all.
Yeah, councillor Geary?
I was actually asked for some questions, but I just realized my article was about some reason pending. So when my colleagues send when
I believe that we did receive those questions and responses provided. Yes, it was emailed today. That's fine, yes. But if you haven't got them, certainly we'll send them again.
Yeah, thank you.
Further questions or clarifications? No, so we have a motion now on page 63. Councillor Ryan's going to move, Councillor Hughes is going to second. Anyone going to speak against? So all those in favour, by show of hands. That's 9-0, that's carried. We go to page 108. So 13.4.2, financial report for the period ending 31st of December 2023. Just wanted to see if there was any major questions at this stage. Otherwise, we have a recommendation on page 111. Councillor Appleton is going to move. Councillor Mangelli is going to second. So anyone likely to speak against? So all those in favour by show of hands. That's 9-0, that's carried. Now we would go to page 125, which is 13.5, community services, but we have already dealt with item 13.5.1 and 13.5.2. We then go to page 142, item 14 is matters behind closed doors, that is nil. Item number 15, with motion to which previous notice has been given, that is nil. Item 16 is urgent business approved by decision, that is nil. Item number 17 is declaration of closure, is made at 6:18 p.m. Thank you, councillors, members of the public.